Hey, what's up? If you enjoy bourbon, vinyls on the turntable, and diving into rabbit holes of random hobbies, welcome to the channel you didn't know you needed. Welcome to the Hobby Rabbit Hole. Every episode we pour a little bourbon, spin a little vinyl, and talk about random hobbies. Now, it's going to be a continuation from last episode. Today we're going to be talking about watches. Now, before we get to the bourbon and the vinyl, I want to set the tone a little bit of how I kind of got into watches. I know last episode I kind of just jumped right into it. It all actually started with this Seiko 5 automatic. It's a small little dial, little field watch. Has a date and day complication inside of it. It automatically wound itself whenever I was wearing it. Thought, okay, cool, does what I need to do. This is the end of my watch journey. That wasn't the end of my watch journey. So it was for a while. I did enjoy this watch for a while, never really kind of dove into the side of watches until one of my best friends, Adam, decided to be like, hey, do you like watches? I was like, I think I do. And then I really took a deep dive. So the watches we're going to talk about today, I'm actually going to a certain category of watches, and I want to find out if you guys can figure out that category with the bourbon, the music, and my outfit. So the bourbon we're drinking today is Jefferson's Ocean Aged. This was voyage number 24. It's aged out at sea for about 6 months, sits on the barrels and kind of rocks in a boat in the Caribbean. The vinyl we're going to listen to today is Christopher Cross. If you are going to get any kind of yacht rock music, you start here. And then my attire, as you're seeing, is Born on the Water. So any guesses of styles of watches? If you said dive watches, you would be correct. So I kind of started to realize that I am a water person. I love the water. I love boats. I love fishing. I love swimming. Heck, anything to do with the water, I'm game. Field watches are not really built to be in a lot of water situations. Some of them are water resistant. That's usually kind of like hand washing, some rain, maybe light swimming. I wanted a dive watch. Now, I'm not a recreational diver by any means, but I do like to get out, get in the water. It's not going to be just light swimming. I'm going to be doing sport activities in the water. So figured I needed a diver. So when I started looking at divers, the first thing that came across was the Omega Speedmaster. Now, if you know anything about the Omega Speedmaster, it is the epitome of dive watches. It came around about 1948. The movements inside of them are high precision, coaxial, excellent craftsmanship. The bezels are ceramic, sapphire crystals. They're just the epitome of a dive watch. 300-meter water resistance. Heck, James Bond wears this Seamaster. Case in point, right there. It's just a cool watch. George Clooney is one of the ambassadors for Omega. So that's kind of when I decided, hey, let's find a diver. That was kind of like my end goal. That's not where I'm starting today, all right? Because those are about a $6,000 to $7,000 watch starting out at. The ones I'm gonna kind of look through today are definitely more of that kind of entry level style. So, without further ado, let's get on to our first watch. All right, so I got things kind of rearranged here so we can kind of go through these watches. Now, there's about 7 watches that we're going to go through. Yes, I have written down some notes. No, I don't know all the specs of these, hence the notes. I'm going to be discovering these watches right alongside you. Now, they're not in any particular order. Like I said, these are more kind of budget-friendly watches. Earlier I was talking about the Omega Seamaster. I know I said Speedmaster one time, but that's a cool watch too. Don't get me wrong. Anything Omega If anybody needs any last minute gift ideas for me, I'm size Omega. All right, but the Seamaster was kind of really the big one that drew me into the dive style watch with the nice wave in the dial. Kind of got the shirt to go with it. So that was kind of what I was looking for, kind of something ocean themed, ocean colored. Just kind of wanted to see what options were out there. So this is where we're going to start. So got to take off the Seiko. The first one we're going to start with is going to be the Timex Deepwater. So it is a 44 millimeter case, 50 millimeter lug to lug. That is a big watch. Okay, now I do have a big wrist. I'm a bigger guy. I have an 18.5 centimeter wrist, so that's like 7.25 inches around. This does have a sapphire crystal in it. It is a quartz movement, though. So it is not an automatic or mechanical. It does have a battery. It kind of ticks one tick per second versus kind of more of a smoother sweep of a mechanical style watch. It is 200 meter water resistance. I believe almost all of these we're going to go through about 200 meter and above. It does have a screw down crown. So we're going to go and unbox the first Timex. That is a bold watch to start with. I mean, look at that compared to the Seiko 5. It is an aluminum bezel on this, so it could kind of scratch a little bit. Now, like I said, some of them are sized small, some of them aren't. Some of them have protective coating on them, some of them don't. We're going to try and slide this one on. That is a big watch. It is. I'm not going to lie. It's not very heavy though. Honestly, it's fairly lightweight for the size it is. But man, that Omega Seamaster vibe. Let me show you. I think we kind of hit it right off the bat. If you can kind of see in there, I know with the protective coating, it might be a little tough to see inside of there, but that's got the waves in it. There it is. There's our Omega Seamaster dupe. Done. Oh wait, no. Okay. I have 6 other watches we are going to look through. But all in all, that fits really well on the wrist. I do kind of like that one. That one's definitely going to be in the running. Just because we kind of kicked off the bat with that wave kind of dial pattern inside of the dial there. So the next watch we're going to move on to is a Casio Duro. It is also a 44 millimeter case. It is a 48 lug to lug, so a little smaller lug to lug. It is a mineral crystal though, so it's not as tough as sapphire. Sapphire crystal is a toughness of 9 on their scale. Basically, nothing can scratch it except for a diamond. The mineral crystals, they kind of get down in kind of like the 5 to 6 range, depending upon what mineral they use. So it can scratch up a little bit. It is a quartz movement as well. So it is going to have kind of that tick of the second hand. 200 meter water resistant, screwed down crown at the 3 o'clock. There's a really pretty dial to it. It is an aluminum bezel as well. So it could scratch up just a little bit. But let's go ahead and toss it on the wrist here. This is pretty much like a no frills, reliable diver. That Timex Deepwater is sitting at $280. This is setting at about $70. So if you're just looking for a reliable diver that would be functional, the Casio Duro would fit that. But it's got a Marlin on the dial too. So that's really kind of neat with the Marlin logo. Let me come up here, show you it again. Kind of going for that ocean theme. Might be hard to see. It is a rotating bezel there, but it does have that nice kind of like blue hue to it. Fits nice. That silicone band really allows it to flex. It is fairly lightweight. Yeah, I mean, as far as divers go, if you want something that you're not going to have to baby or worry about, $70, that would kind of fit the bill. So, all right, well, I'm going to get these cleared out. We're going to move on to watches 3 and 4. If you can go pick yourself up a bottle of that Jefferson's Ocean Age, just get it. Thank me later. So the next watches we're going to look at, they are both kind of an homage to the Seiko Turtle. Now, not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, kinda. It's basically the case is kind of looks like a turtle shell. That's kind of where it came from. I love it just with the turtles. I mean, okay, I was born in the 80s, but truly I'm a 90s kid. It's when I had all the toys. I still have my turtles. That's another rabbit hole we might go down another day, all of my collectible stuff that I have. But anyway, the watches we're going to look at, like I said, they're kind of paying tribute to the Seiko Turtle. The Seiko Turtle was actually made famous in the movie The Abyss. Ed Harris starred in that movie. It was a 1989 movie. Really cool. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You'll see it very present right on his wrist. It's a nice diver. But the Seiko does come with a price point, $400 or $500. So, I'm trying to find kind of more budget entry into the diving watches. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Addy's Dive. It's kind of cool. It comes in this case. It's a pressure, okay, not real pressure, but it looks like a pressurized case. It's got their logo on here with the spear guns and goggles on here. Now, the cool thing about both of these watches, they're made by two different manufacturers, but they all have kind of both of them the same specs. So they are a 44 millimeter case, 47 lug to lug, both of these watches. Now, this one is definitely a thicker watch. Okay. The thickness of this watch, that is a very pretty looking, I love the turtle. It looks like a turtle shell. Okay, I'll show you in a minute. All right. This is chunky. This is a 14 millimeter thickness watch. I believe this is going to be one of the thickest watches I think I've looked at so far. It does have an extra little clasp here. It is a sapphire crystal, so again, very scratch resistant. If I can get this on. We are now getting into mechanical movements, though. This is an NH35A, which basically means automatic. The interesting thing is it's a Seiko movement. They designed it as one of their subsidiary companies, but Seiko is the parent company. So it's basically Seiko internals, 41 hours of power. You can hand wind it. What's really interesting about this is the crown is actually at the 4 o'clock position instead of the 3 o'clock. It is a screw down crown, 200 meters of water resistance. It is a steel bezel, so could scratch a little bit. The sapphire is kind of domed up a little bit, so it might kind of protect that just a little bit. This is sitting right around $120, so budget-friendly turtle. And it also has kind of like this ocean theme. Like I said, kind of looking at that Omega Seamaster is kind of like, that ocean kind of wave to it. So that's kind of what I've been looking for in a watch. But let me come up here and show you. So yeah, on the metal bracelet, that's really interesting. So with the diver, I guess you could swap this out, put a rubber bracelet on it as well if you were actually in water, and then if you wanted to dress it up a little bit. But let's see if I can kind of get like a little bit of a close up there. So it's got that ocean view, like I said, going from the top to the bottom. Nice bezel turn on that. It's interesting. See, with the turtle, it's got this kind of bevel here. So let me get that camera down here. There's a bevel. So as you rotate your wrist, it's kind of nice. It feels good. Like it doesn't pinch to the watch very easily. This is a hefty watch. This is very heavy. Again, could be kind of the metal bracelet on it as well. But that you would definitely know you are wearing a watch. The next one I'm going to look at is the Heimdalla. Most people just call it the Heimdallar. It is another turtle. Like I said, similar specs, internal to this watch, just maybe a little bit more of a design difference on the outside. This does have an anti-reflective coating on the sapphire as well. So this is going to kind of help resist some of that glare. That is a pretty looking watch. They feel completely different. I think it's the silicone, just the weight of this feels comfortable. Feels like you could wear this all day long and really not know you've got a watch on. This sits at the $150 level. So maybe this, with the anti-reflective kind of on here, and it does have a logo on here. The Heimdallr, it's a shark, kind of like the Costa on here. I'll come up here and show you in just a second. But oh yeah, again, that is very comfortable on the wrist. I don't think you'd really realize you had this on. And the cool thing that now we're getting out of the quartz, we're getting into the mechanical movements. These all kind of have a heartbeat. Some movement inside of it is how the timing mechanism works. 21,600 beats an hour is the heartbeat of the watch. So it's ticking at about 6 ticks a second. So it kind of has a little bit more of a smoother sweep to the second hand. Again, I'll show you so you can kind of see that. So that's kind of like the next step up, getting away from kind of like the quartz watch. It is a black bezel with a black dial that is ceramic as well. So again, a little bit of a better bezel than the Addies. But that is, if you can see, watch that second hand, it just has more of kind of a nicer sweep to it. Again, the turtle design, I like that. That is a very clever, so you're not catching it on the wrist. You could wear this all day and not feel it. This also has a lume C3. From what I read, that is a very high lume. And actually, if I put this kind of in shadow a little bit, I can see the lume already starting to shine on there. So this lume is actually better than the Seiko turtle. This actually has better lume inside of it, for that price point of the $150 versus bumping up to the Seiko's price point. So, all right, really cool. So we're going to move on to another design style of watches, still in the divers, but we're going to move on to what is called the puck divers. So I'm going to get this moved out of the way. We'll move right into the puck divers. I know I taste that sea salt. It's like a salty caramel in this bourbon. Very good. All right, on to puck divers. Now, again, this is kind of another case design. That's why they're called the puck divers. Both of these are Addies Dive brand. Both of them are 46 millimeter case. They don't really have a lug to lug because you'll see in a second, it's just a big puck. And then the bracelet comes underneath that puck. I've never tried one on. That's what I see online on what they are. So we'll find out here in a minute. The biggest thing is they have two different movements. One has kind of an older, tougher, simpler movement to it. That's sitting at the $127 range. And then the other one's got the NH35A, just like the other automatics we were looking at. This one's sitting at the $144 range. So other than that, 16 millimeter thickness, sapphire crystal. They are ceramic bezels, 41 hours of power. The neat thing about these is they are 1,000-meter divers. Okay, they have helium escape valves inside of these. Okay, that is a hefty, chunky, thick watch. The crown as well is at the 4 o'clock with the screw down helium escape valve over here. Now, okay, it's a $150 watch and a $130 watch. Can they truly go 1,000 meters? I don't know. Am I ever going to test that? No. That's like saturation diving. That's what the helium escape valve is for. So if any helium gases go past any of the gaskets, it won't rupture the watch under pressure. I'll never test that. So 1,000 meters, cool. That's going to be good enough for me. So this will take any kind of water sport activity that I'm going to throw at it. Again, the ocean kind of theme to this. It's got the blue and it fades to the black out to the black bezel. So the dial itself appears bigger because it kind of just fades into that black. I'll come up here and show you in a minute. That is a gorgeous looking watch. Actually, there's a little bit of texture, looks like inside on that dial as well, kind of like some ocean, like underwater ocean waves. This one does have a blue hue to it for the lume. Can't really see it, but yeah, it's actually pretty comfortable. It's not as heavy as that turtle. The turtle with the metal bracelet, that was heavy. This feels comfortable. But again, it's very nice on the wrist. It does catch a little bit, just because it is a little wider. That turtle design is kind of nice with that. But I mean, look at that dial. That is a gorgeous dial. Like I said, it kind of is that blue fades to the black ceramic bezel. It's got that nice little sweep of the second hand. That is a crisp, sharp looking watch. I really like that. It's a hefty bracelet too. That's got to be probably 22 millimeter bracelet. Like I said, so this one has the old Seiko basically movement inside of it. The other one is a Miyota movement. It's from Citizen Watch Group. Again, I kind of went with that same. I mean, it's basically the same watch, just different internals, and kind of a different dial pattern. This does have it's got the waves inside the dial there, that Omega Seamaster kind of vibe that I've kind of been looking for. Both of these are nice. They are kind of locking. Again, you could probably throw these on a silicone, and then it would really strip down some of that weight, make it to where you could wear this kind of long term all day and not really feel it. Again, it's not bad though. But look at this dial. Again, it may not pick up on camera, and it's got the plastic coating over it, but it's got those kind of waves. It goes from kind of like that aqua blue down to the deep blue with 1,000 meters down. So yeah, that's our puck divers. Again, they both have very similar specs. The colors are great on both of these, but I only have two wrists, and I'm not wearing two watches at the same time. I'm only wearing one watch at a time. I would love to have all the watches, but I do have to kind of narrow it down at some point. So we are going to get this cleaned up, go to our last one. Saved kind of the best for last. It is a Seiko. It is a Pepsi diver. You'll see why in just a minute. Now, I know I did say these were not in any particular order. I did save the Seiko for last. Okay. Now, this is, like I said, the Seiko Pepsi diver. This is a Sport 5. It's a 43 millimeter case, 46 lug to lug. It is not a sapphire crystal though. So it does have the Seiko price point, but it has Hardlex, which is their toughest mineral that they make. It's like a 7 to 8 on a scratch resistant, where all of the sapphire crystals are a 9. But you're going to have the fit and finish. You're going to have the better movement inside. Still the same beats per hour, but it's just a more reliable movement inside. And this is kind of this is kind of like that entry level. It's going to hold its value. People are going to know the name. It also was kind of made semi-famous in the movie Adrift. It's a sailing movie, and All Is Lost. Robert Redford, again, cool guy, wearing the Pepsi Seiko out there sailing on the ocean. All right. It is gorgeous. That's what it is. That is a very, very uh, amazing looking watch. Um, so here's why it's the Pepsi Diver. If you can see, it's got the red and the blue in the bezel. All right. So again, inside of here, I mean, just fit and finish. I mean, I can already see the fit and finish. It does have a day and date complication inside of it. So, and just the automatic movement, I mean, it's really pretty on the back side of here. It has an open case back, so you can kind of see that movement inside there. It is a 100-meter water resistance, though. So, you know, it's kind of flirting on that edge where it's like light swimming, really no kind of heavy water activity sports you'd want to do with this. But you know, it's kind of more of a showpiece. I would think you'd want to kind of keep this looking nice. Again, this is going to kind of hold some value, ceramic bezel. That is really, let me come up here and show you. There it is, the Pepsi Diver. You throw this on a NATO strap. That's what Robert Redford was wearing in All Is Lost. Again, that same 21,000 beats. So it is kind of a, you know, more of a smoother sweep to it. It is a screw down crown as well, even though only the 100-meter water resistance. Nice rotating bezel. It is a pretty smooth rotation to that. All in all, again, a great name brand. If you're wanting to get a dive watch and be like, I want to start somewhere, this is where I'm going to start the journey, Seiko. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Seiko. You know, it is kind of very similar to it, the day complication to it. This is an older Seiko 5, but this is more of a field watch. This is more of the diver watch. And I mean, Robert Redford wore that. I mean, these are cool guys. Ed Harris had the turtle, the Seiko turtle. It's just, and it's in a nice price point. It's $315, so it's not too crazy. I think the reason why it's not higher into that 4 to 5 is because no sapphire crystal. It is only the 100-meter water resistance, so it's not a true actual diver. It's more kind of a pretty piece. But again, the name Seiko, you just can't beat it. So, well, that is it, guys. That is our collection of diver watches. I'm glad you were able to come along on this journey with me. I'm going to get this cleaned up, kind of lay them all out here, and then it's going to be decision time. All right, so here they are, everybody, in all of their glory. All 7 dive watches. That was so fun kind of diving down this rabbit hole, pun intended. It's going to be a tough choice. Not quite sure which route I want to go. I might try some of them, swap them out onto some rubberized bracelets or a NATO bracelet to see if they kind of got a different feel to them. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You know, you saw them on my wrist. You heard my comments about them. Which would you choose? If you had to pick one or say 2, or 7, yeah, I'll just take all 7. That would make this so much easier. But anyway, if you had to pick 1 or 2, list them down in the comments below what you think I should go with. So starting kind of from left to right, just to recap again, we've got the Timex Deep Water, the Casio Duro, followed by the Heimdallr Turtle, and then the Addy's Dive Turtle, both of the Addy's Dive Puck Divers, and last but not least, the Seiko Pepsi Diver. Well, I'm glad you guys were able to come on the adventure with me looking into these dive watches, and I'm hoping you'll be here next time as we go down another hobby rabbit hole.